Hello guys, how you doing? How you doing? It's Mason here, and welcome to the Mason's Tarot World. So today I just want to try to explain a little bit further about the major arcana cards. Okay, we are specifically talking about the major arcana cards, and I want to try to clarify and try to make everybody who is probably new to tarot cards to totally and completely understand what we're talking about when we are referring to the major arcana cards. The best way I'm going to do this to you is, that's why I've got a piece of paper in front of me. I'm going to try to do a presentation, and hopefully you do not mind my drawings, okay? That is the best way, and I'm going to go to the cards after this little presentation. So, as you all might be aware of it now, there are at least 22 major arcana cards, and they start from the card which is called the Joker or the Fool, and they go all the way to the World or the Universe. So in order for you to understand the major arcana cards, I'm gonna give you this little presentation. Okay, so right over here we're gonna draw a triangle. Okay, right. This is my version of triangle. It's not perfect, but hopefully you understand this. Hopefully you can kind of like figure out this is a triangle, or supposed to be a triangle. So right here at the top here, let's just call it the absolute. Okay, we're gonna call it the absolute. We're gonna call it spirit. We're going to call it heaven. We're going to call it God. Okay? So we're going to call it heaven, spirit, absolute, and God. This is right here. This is the realm of spirit. This is where spirit emanated from. This is perfection. This is nirvana. Okay? Let's just write these words. Perfection. Nirvana. Okay? So this is the Holy Land. Let's call it Holy Land as well. And obviously, this is not a religious lesson I'm giving you here, right? But I just want you to understand the importance of first of all, the tarot cards and the major arcana cards. Because a lot of people, there is so much myth, and there is so much disinformation and so much false teachings out there, and the people have kind of like come to a conclusion that tarot cards is pseudoscience, or it's just a fantasy, or it's just I mean, people haven't got a clue about the art of divination called tarot cards. So this, hopefully this presentation might shed some light to any kind of discrepancies, disparities, and confusions, and any myth as well. So, like I say to you, this is the Holy Land, this is heaven, this is spirit, this is perfection, this is God, this is absolute, this is nirvana. This is the land of the spirit, or this is the land of the soul. Now, what happens is, soul or spirit descends into the physical realm. Or in other words, the earth plane. Okay, so spirit descends from the world of perfection, or from the Holy Land, and it descends into the physical realm. There are so much realms of existence here, but the physical realm is just or the earth plane is just another form of existence. But there are other form of existence. For example, the ethereal, the mental, and the spiritual. Okay, these are all forms of existence. Okay, so what happens is spirit descends from the Holy Land, or the absolute, and it descends into the physical realm, which is one of the very various forms of existence. Okay, there are so much forms of existence, but this is just one of the forms of existence. Okay, right. So I'm just sorting out my mic here. Yeah. So spirit, like I said to you, it descends from the realm of the absolute, and it comes to the realm of the physical. Okay, you might say this is the fall of man. This is the going into Egypt, because allegorically Egypt is always referred to the physical, esoterically. So this is Egypt. This is, you might call it Jerusalem, or you might call it Israel. Okay, so this is the holy place, or this is the spiritual dimension, and this is the physical dimension. So when spirit descends into this physical reality, it starts off to experience a life in this physical level, or this physical lane, or physical dimension. Now, as it is experiencing reality in this physical dimension, there are so much obstacles, so much challenges, so much trials and tribulations that it goes through for it to realize and to remember its divinity. Because as you can see, spirit has come so far to come into this physical reality. It has passed so much stages of existence, or levels of realities. So by the time it comes to this earth plane, or the physical reality, it has totally forgotten its real identity, or its real self. It has got involved, or it involved itself into matter. It involved itself into matter. So it came over in this physical world, and it got like I said, it got involved into this garment of physical matter, and this garment of physical matter has totally blinded, or has put a veil on its on itself, that it totally forgot its true essence. So as it comes into the physical reality, it starts off a journey, and this journey starts with a 0. Numerologically, all our numbers start from 0 to 9. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Let me write it again here. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 0 is the first number. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. When it reaches 9, it goes to the next level, where it becomes, again, right, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So again, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then it goes to the next level and it becomes 20, 21, and so forth and so on. Right? You get the gist. So basically, everything starts off from the 0, and 0 is 0 encompasses all the numbers emanate from 0, or all the numbers come from the number 0. Number 0, the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, they all come from the number 0. So all reality, all potential, all possibilities are encompassed in the 0. So 0 has got the potential to be anybody or to be anything, because all potentials are in the 0. That's why you've heard the phrase or the sayings that everything came from nothing. Nothing created everything. Everything was created out of the nothing, because it is out of the nothing that where everything emanates from. Everything emanated from the nothing, which is the 0. So as the spirit or the soul, as it has descended into this physical reality, it starts to go through so much obstacles, so much challenging situations, so much experiences. Some of these experiences are emotional, some of these are mental, some of them are action related, some of them are manifested related, some of them are, like I said, thought-based related. So all these experiences that the soul will be going through in this physical reality, the soul has to conquer all these challenges ahead. 0 is the genesis, because everything starts from here. It is the genesis. Okay? And all the obstacles that the spirit will be encountering in this physical reality, the end goal or the end destination is to go to what's called the world. Right? And the world, the other term for the world is the universe. Okay. Now, so the spirit starts off its journey from the 0, which is the genesis, and it goes all the way to the world or the universe. And the number for the universe or the world is 22. And that is the last page or the last card of the major arcana card. It starts off from the 0, which is the genesis, and it ends with the world, which is 22. And the 22 in the Kabbalah is actually the tetragrammaton for, it's a tetragrammaton word or symbolical number for Yahweh or for God or for Jehovah in Kabbalah and in Hebrew mysticism. So basically, everything starts off from the 0 and it goes all the way to 22. So why am I telling you all of these things, ladies and gentlemen? I'm telling you these things because I want you to understand the importance of the tarot cards. Tarot cards are literally on another level, because there are so many different levels. On the first initial level is a spiritual journey. A spiritual journey from the beginning or from the start, which is the 0, which is the full or which is the genesis, and it goes all the way to the time when it is revealed, when everything is revealed to you, when you've learned all your lessons, when you've gone through all the obstacles and challenges of life in this physical reality, and you totally understand your own divinity, who you really are, which is the 22, which is the revelation. So the beginning is the genesis and the end is the revelation. And the end, which is 22, it is the world. So the tarot cards, they start off with the number 0, which is the fool. And the fool in this case, it simply means somebody who is in the wilderness, somebody who is on a journey, somebody who is on an expedition, trying to understand a new reality or a new dimension where they are. Because as you have seen, the soul descended from the absolute or from heaven from the spiritual realm, and he has devolved or involved into matter. I say to you, there are so many levels of experience of realities, like the ethereal realm, the mental realm, the spiritual realm, but the bottom of the list is the physical realm. Now, spirit has so much engulfed itself into matter. And when spirit has engulfed itself into matter, some of it has totally forgotten where it came from. It has forgotten its own divinity. So it has to go through so many phases and obstacles and challenging situations for it to wake up and understand and remember who it really is, which is the spiritual self or the God self. So this is going to happen when it reaches number 22, which is the world or the universe, or the tetragrammaton, and number 22, a representation of Yahweh in the Kabbalah. So the reason why I'm giving you this written presentation, because that is the best way for you to understand the tarot cards. There are so much myth, there are so much disinformation, misinformation, false information, false teachings, and people do not understand that tarot cards is simply a form of divination. It's a form of understanding who you really are, your true nature of being. Because most of us, we need to understand that our physical self is not our reality. That's not you. This is just a body that you need to experience a life in this physical earth plane. But in this physical earth plane, your spirit is still there. Your spiritual self, your divine self, your God self is still there. But most of the times we get entangled with so much things and experiences and thoughts, emotions, and most of the time we are blinded and we are veiled to understand our true nature of being. So I just thought, ladies and gentlemen, if I start off with this presentation, hopefully this might help you to understand everything about the tarot cards, especially the major arcana cards. Like I said, there's 22 of them, and they start off from the Fool, which is a 0, and all the way to the Tetragrammaton 22, which is the universe, or which is the world. Okay, so let me. I've got my cards here. I've got my Reed Howard cards here, and I've got my Rider-Waite tarot deck over here. So I'm going to try to explain to you everything that I've just explained already, but using the cards this time. So at least you get the full picture of what I was talking about. Okay. So like I said, the first card or the first point of journey, it is the Fool. As you can see, this is the card, the Fool. Now, what do you see on the card? Do you see an innocent kind of like a person who is totally oblivious of where they are going, and they are stepping on a cliff, and they haven't got no idea of what's ahead of them. They've got this innocent looking like. So this is a spiritual journey. You are starting off from here. So the Fool is actually an openness to your quest of enlightenment. Okay? Because a Fool has got this carefree attitude, carefree personality. They do not care about anything at all. They're just going to wherever they're going, but they do not care about where they are going. Okay? So on a spiritual level, this is the Fool's beginning journey. But if this card comes on your reading on a psychological level, it means you need to take a different action where you have to be carefree and not to worry about anything at all. Because most of the times we have so much things we have built up inside our minds, and thinking, how am I going to get through this situation? And we overthink things too much, and by overthinking and by overanalyzing information, we don't actually complete the task at hand. Sometimes you have to just trust your inner self, trust the intuition, trust that you can do it. So this is the Fool on the psychological level. So if this card ever comes on your reading, it's all about openness to your quest, jumping into the unknown, right? Jumping into the unknown. As you can see, the Fool is walking to a cliff here. And at the top here, you can see on the Rider-Waite tarot deck here, starts off with the 0. 0 is the beginning. Everything emanates from 0. This is the beginning. This is the Genesis. The Genesis to the road to enlightenment, to the road to a revelation where everything is all revealed to you finally. But this is the beginning. You have to start from somewhere. So this is the Fool. But the Fool is totally oblivious where he's going. There is so many things that can happen to the Fool. The Fool can fall over the cliff. And if you look at the background, it's very barren. It's very lifeless. There is not so much life going on. So the Fool might be heading to something interesting. So this is on the psychological level, on the archetypal level. It is all about intuition. Trust your instinct. Okay. So the next page, the next card is the Magician. If you look at the Magician on the Major Arcana, which is the first card. Okay. Right. So if you look at the Magician, right, the Magician, it personifies all things at their beginning, the starting point of all events and undertakings, the impulse of creation. In him are all the possibilities and potential of all things at the beginning. Because the Fool on its journey, it understood that everything, there are so much possibilities in it. The Fool understands that there is no limits. All things are possible. So it becomes a magician. A magician is somebody who can manipulate the elements. Okay? So this is the defining the skills you will need on your spiritual path. You're going to need all your all the skills. You're going to need all your intuitions. You're going to need all your trust. You're going to need to let go. You're going to need to never be fearful, because everything is included in you. So if this card ever comes in your reading, it simply means do not be scared. Just you've got everything in front of you. You've got everything in you. You can manipulate the situation. You can change the situation. You've got the power to change the situation. I mean, look at the card. Look at how vivid the card is. The Magician is manipulating all the elements. If you look at the Rider-Waite tarot deck, right? The Magician, he's got the infinity symbol here. You've got a wand in his. He's got a scroll in his right hand here, and he is pointing at the bottom here. And this is Hermetic philosophy, as above, so below. And if you look at the table, it's got all the suits in it. It's got the wand, it's got the sword, it's got the cup, it's got the pentacles. Now, as you know, the cup, the pentacle, the sword, and the wand, these are intuition, emotions, action, manifestation. So the Magician has got all of these things in him. So the Fool is walking up to the fact that it can have anything it wants. Nothing is beyond it. So this is the Fool's journey to enlightenment. So the next page, the next card is the High Priestess. You can see the High Priestess. And the High Priestess is all about connecting with your inner teacher, or developing intuition. Okay? Within all of us, we've got the inner power. We've got the inner divine power within us. And you need to connect to this spiritual power, because you have to remember, like I said before, we all emanated from the absolute. But you need to trust in your instinct, trust into your intuition, trust into this inner spiritual self. And once you get in touch with it, because the magician is finally understands that who he is waking up to the fact that it is a spiritual being and understand the spiritual self. So the high priestess, she personifies secret knowledge and immobility. She urges you to trust your gut. The world is full of lies and manipulation, making the ability to see through deceit a most valuable skill to nature. See, the high priestess knows that we live in a world of illusion. Everything is not what it appears, because most of the things that appears is all in the realm of thoughts. It is just our minds thinking, but it's not really what it appears. So the higher priestess, she's a personification of understanding your intuition, who you really are, and understanding there is nothing that is real. Everything that seems real, it's actually it's not true. So this is the personification of the high priestess, as you can see on the Rider-Waite tarot deck. Like I say to you, the high priestess connecting with your inner teacher, developing intuition. She is very, very knowledgeable. She's very knowledgeable of all the things that happens of reality, really. So when this card comes into your reading, you need to get in touch with your inner self, because your inner self knows better the situation than you do, because you've got so much, you're approaching the situation through emotions, through fear, through indoctrination, through so much things, so you can't actually see things as they really are. But the high priestess, she understands everything. She's a personification of knowledge and understanding the reality of things. So the next card is the Empress. Now the Empress, it's exploring love in all its reflections, the cycles of life and their connection to the divine. There she is, the Empress, right? Which is the third card on the Arcana. The Empress represents feminine power, fertility, abundance, nature, and the love of home and family. It's considered to be a particularly positive card. It signifies exceptional well-being and limitless God fortune. So the Empress is back to nature. It understands the natural reality of things and understanding the cycle of things. Understanding that everything has got seasons, everything has got its own time. There's ups, downs, there's highs and lows. This is the personification of understanding the reality here. So that's the Empress. So the next card, okay, so here she is, the Empress on the Rider-Waite tarot deck. As you can see, she's sitting on the throne. She understands. She's at peace with everything because she understands the nature of reality. She's not bothered by anything. And if this card ever comes to your reading, sometimes do not worry. Do not get hooked up on things that aren't very, very important at all, because everything is cyclical. It's just a phase. Very soon it shall, whatever that you're going through, whatever that's happening to you, it shall soon pass. So the next card is the Emperor, right? Emperor is number 4 on the major Arcana card. Now, the Emperor signifies patriarchy, material power, and protection. While generally considered to be a neutral card, when it appears in a reading, this is typically a good omen. Okay, so the Emperor, taking responsibility for and organizing your life based around your spiritual purpose. Okay, it's all about taking responsibility. It's all about understanding that you have the power. You have the power to conquer everything, but everything comes with great power, comes with greater responsibilities. You need to be responsible, and you need to be focused. So if this card ever comes on your reading, this is what it says. This is what the Emperor is saying. It's a personification of you understanding that you need to be grounded. Look at the position, the way the Emperor is sitting. The Emperor is sitting in a focused manner, right? Stamping authority. Sometimes you need to stamp your own authority. Put your foot down, and not only should you put your foot down, but you have to be responsible. Responsible of your actions, responsible of your emotions. So the Fool is now understanding that in order for me to get enlightenment, I need to be controlling my emotions. I need to be responsible of everything. So this is what the Emperor is trying to teach the Fool on his journey to enlightenment. So the next card is the Hierophant, right? Now, the Hierophant, sometimes referred to as the Pope or the High Priest. The Hierophant represents authority, conviction, and commitment to following a strict Orthodox lifestyle. So the Hierophant, finding a spiritual master, studying spiritual religious scriptures, attending spiritual groups. The Hierophant is the Fool is now being taught that it has to follow a spiritual journey. It has to follow a spiritual route. It has to study spirituality and understand all aspects of spirituality. So if this card ever comes to your reading, it means you need to be committed to a certain lifestyle, to a certain route. Whatever that you choose, be committed to it. You can't be distracted. You can't be slacking. You have to be focused and be committed to whatever that you have set out to do. Okay, that's what the Fool is being taught here by the Hierophant. And there he is, the Hierophant in the Rider-Waite tarot deck. It's all about authority. It's all about a religious symbolism here. It's all about spirituality. Get in touch with your spiritual self. And like I said, psychologically, it means be focused on what you have set out to do. That is the Hierophant. Now, the sixth card is the Lovers, right? Now, the Lovers is the Lovers card has dual meaning. As its name implies, it's a sign of a strong relationship, but it can also indicate that you are at a major crossroads in life and that you should avoid making hasty decisions. So yes, the Fool is being taught on his spiritual journey that sometimes you are going to come to a point of crossroads. Sometimes you're going to come to a point where decisions have to be made, and the right decisions have to be made. Sometimes you're going to be left with the two options, and what options are you going to make? And what are the basis of you making and choosing that option? This is what the Lovers card depicts. Okay, and it says as well, pain of separation from your spiritual source. Okay, because the Lovers, on its Fool's journey, yourself or yourself, you are in a relationship with your spiritual self. So detachment from your spiritual self is going to be very painful. Very painful. So you need to understand that if you ever going to be separated from your spiritual self, a reality in this physical dimension is going to be hard. Life is going to be so tough for you. So you need to have a good relationship with your spiritual self. That is on the Fool's journey. But in the psychological level, you need to make the right decisions, because this is the crossroads. What decision are you going to make? because every decision that you're going to make is going to be detrimental to your life. The decision that you're going to make today is going to be affecting how you're going to live. So what decision are you going to make? So that's what the lovers are. So as we go along on the Fool's journey to enlightenment, the next one card is the Chariot. There it is, the Chariot. The Chariot. Now the Chariot represents a victory, a conquest and control. It does not guarantee success, but it does promise that your hard work and perseverance will pay off someday. Okay? Victory, conquest, and control. Success is not guaranteed, but your hard work, and if you persevere more, you're going to get all the successes. Right? So if you look at the Chariot is all about learning the new drivers of your spiritual life. So on the Fool's journey, it has to understand that the only thing that is leading it to wherever it's going, it is its spiritual self, and it needs to learn. It needs to learn, and it needs to understand that the spiritual self is the only one that's going to give it the right direction. So that's what is teaching you there. So if you look at the Rider-Waite tarot deck, you're going to see the Fool here. And like we said, it's all about learning the new drivers of your spiritual life. And you need to try to, trust your spiritual self, because it is the one that is going to be driving you. It does not matter what journey you're going to be heading to, what expedition you're going to be heading to, but the spiritual self is going to be your driver. So the next one is the Strength. Strength. If you look at this, right now, the Strength card, it represents courage, confidence, and passion. This card assures triumph of intelligence over brute strength and morality over evil. Okay, so this card is the Strength card is trying to teach the Fool that sometimes intelligence sometimes conquers over strength. Morality sometimes overcomes evilness. Okay, so this is what he's going to have to learn on his journey. But that sometimes you need to have confidence and passion, but understand that intelligence you do not need to rely on physical strength to conquer things, but sometimes you need intelligence. And you need to be moral, because morality and intelligence is your companionship on a spiritual journey. Okay. And on the psychological level, it means actions have consequences. You need to learn to keep all aspects of your life in balance. Everything has got consequences, right? And there is no effect without cause, and there's no cause without effect. So everything that you do is going to have consequences. So make sure you make the right decisions, make sure you follow the right path of action, and make sure you think right and you feel right. Okay? Because without this is going to be detrimental to your life. So that's what the Strength card is saying. This is the Rider-Waite tarot deck here. Okay? Intelligent. You do not need to be stronger to conquer something. Sometimes you just need to be intelligent. Right? There is a lion here, but the lion seems defeated. Obviously, realistically, the lion is stronger than the person. But if you use intelligence, you can conquer certain situations. If you use morality, you can conquer evil. So this is what this card is saying. So the next card, which is number 9, it is the Hermit. As you can see, the Hermit over there. And the Hermit embodies the quest for knowledge and enlightenment through self-reflection. This card speaks to the power of solitude during this personal journey. Okay, so a Hermit embodies the quest for knowledge and enlightenment through self-reflection. So if you look at the Hermit over there, the Hermit looks and it appears to be in a desert on its own. And sometimes you need self-reflection, right? If this card ever comes across on your reading, it's trying to tell you to reflect on the situations and try to understand the things properly. Sometimes you need to move away or move back from whatever that you are going through, and you can see things properly by reflecting upon it and looking at it from a distance. Sometimes you need to go to the wilderness. Sometimes you need to go to a point of peace where there's not so much clutter, not so much noise, and you're trying to figure out and trying to understand what's really, really going on. So this is what the Hermit is. It's encountering the inner light which shines through the darkness, exploring solitude. Yes, we've got an inner light here. Sometimes this inner light has to be explored, but the only way you can explore it is by quietening the mind. Sometimes you need to go within, go into the darkness, go into the wilderness where it's quiet, and try to understand this light within. So that is the Hermit there. So next on the Fool's Journey is the Wheel of Fortune, which is number 10. The Wheel of Fortune, this is the ultimate symbol of luck and chance. The Wheel of Fortune card signifies changes, both good and bad. It's a reminder that sometimes we are at the mercy of fate, and all we can do is wait for our luck to change. Okay, so as you can see, the Wheel of Fortune here on the Rider Waite tarot deck, everything goes up and down, everything revolves. Life is cyclical. Okay, sometimes there are some highs, sometimes there are some lows, sometimes things will come your way, sometimes the things do not come your way. But you know what, whatever situation it is, you just need to ride with it, go with the flow, and understand that change is inevitable. Sometimes good change, sometimes bad change, but that is the nature of reality. We can't run away, we can't escape from the principle of a reality that change is what makes this world revolve, and what makes this world function. It's all about changing. So you need to understand that. So if anything happens to you, do not be thinking this situation is permanent. Okay, and nothing is permanent. Just like the 4 seasons, sometimes there is spring, sometimes there's summer, sometimes there's autumn, and sometimes there's winter. Okay, the seasons do not stay the same. Just the same thing with your life. Everything that happens and manifests into your life, it changes, and you just need to understand that. Okay, sometimes you just need to go with the flow. So this is what the Fool is being taught in its spiritual journey. The next card, number 11, is a Lady Justice. Okay, now number 11, Lady Justice, good people will be rewarded for their hard work and sacrifices, while unkind ones will be punished. Justice represents balance, fairness, and the inescapable consequences of our actions. Okay, your action, whatever you do, will affect you. You have to remember that. The action that you take will have an effect. It may be positive or it may be negative effect. So just be mindful. This is what the Fool is being taught in this spiritual journey. That the actions that you take has got consequences. Okay? As you can see, the lady here, she's holding a sword. A sword, it's a suit card, and a suit card of cup, a sword. Yeah, sorry, it's a suit cup, and the sword represents action. So all the actions that you do has got consequences. So once you understand that, everything that you're going to be doing, you're going to be very careful. And the other thing that the card is trying to tell you is that everything has got justice. Okay, everything has got justice. If you do good, good will be multiplied to you. If you do bad, bad things will come to you. So this is a card of karma. Whatever you do, you have to remember something bad or something good might happen to you. It depends on what you've done. So be careful on what you do. So this is what the Fool is being tried to taught here. Like you see, it's a sword. Sword is a suit. Suit means a suit of sword means action. Okay, the action that you're doing has got consequences. So be wary and be careful of that. Now the next card is the Hanged Man, which is number 12. Now the Hanged Man indicates that you are at crossroads and need to let go of the past in order to arrive at your new reality. Getting there is something new, something you strongly desire, yet it will likely involve a certain amount of sacrifice, right? So the Fool in its spiritual journey is being taught that sometimes in life you're going to have to make sacrifices. Sometimes if you want to have something to manifest into your reality, you have to let go of something, okay? If you want something to come into your reality and manifest into your reality, sometimes you need to make those personal sacrifices. Okay, you can't have it all the time. Sometimes if you've got something crashed into your hands, and let go of the things that you are holding on to, so that you can hold on to something new. So this card is all about making sacrifices, okay? The need to make sacrifices for your greater vision and purpose. So the Fool here on its spiritual journey is being told that you need to make sacrifices. If you've got a vision, if you've got a spiritual vision, make certain sacrifices. You can't serve two masters. You can't serve the physical self. You can't serve the ego self and the spiritual self. You need to sacrifice one or the other. So this is what the card is trying to tell you. And if this card comes on your reading, psychologically, it's trying to tell you if you want to achieve certain things, if you want to have certain things, if you want to be somewhere into your life, you need to let go of the past and let go of certain things that are still holding you back. So by letting them go, then you are free, because you are free. You are free. By letting them go, you are free to do whatever you want to do. So this is what the Hanged Man is. Number 13 is the card that most people always are petrified when they see in their reading. It is the Death card. Okay. Now the Death, while it tends to be the tarot most people fear, death doesn't have to imply physical death. Rather, it is more often spiritual manifestation or new beginnings. Okay, so this card, yes, it's most people, they get petrified when it comes to their reading, but this card is trying to tell and teach the Fool that there is transformation in everything. There is always new beginnings. There's always a starting point. Everything has got its beginning and a transformation. Okay, and even in the darkest hour, you can transform the situation. Even when it seems like there is no way to go, you can transform new things, okay? And there is always a point where the death of the old has to be, it has to manifest. Then the new beginning has to come across. And the next card, so that was the Death card here on the Rider-Waite Tarot deck. And the next card is the Temperance, right? Now the Temperance, in the Fool's journey through the major arcana, Temperance represents the lesson that a real change takes time, and as such, one's ability to exercise patience and self-control are infinitive virtues. So yes, so this card is trying to teach the Fool or the soul on its spiritual journey that a real change takes time. You need to be patient. Patience is a virtue. You need to be patient. Do not expect changes to come overnight. Okay, changes will come, but you need to trust the process. You need to trust the Spirit. You need to be patient enough to trust the powers that are at hand, that are at play. Okay, you need to be patient. You can't be hurrying things, because if you are hurrying things, then you're going to get frustrated. So patience is a virtue. This is what this card is trying to tell you. Number 15 is the devil. Okay, now the devil, while not necessarily a negative card, the devil nevertheless represents temptation and indulgence in sensual pleasures, regardless of how dangerous said pleasures may turn out to be. Okay, while not necessarily a negative card, the devil nevertheless represents temptations and indulgence in sensual pleasures, regardless of how dangerous said pleasures may turn out to be. So when you've got the devil, okay, it's his integration through your right. Devil is seeing how the pull of the mind, emotions, and the world still chain us to matter. You know, sometimes our mind, sometimes our emotions, they make us so chained into this material realm, and we find it so hard to detach ourselves from this material physical self. Okay, so this is what the card is trying to tell you, really. Let me say that again. While not necessarily a negative card, the devil nevertheless represents temptations and indulgences in sensual pleasures, regardless of how dangerous said pleasures may turn out to be. So yes, sometimes the mind can deceive us. Sometimes our emotions can deceive us, and we might get entangled into the sensual pleasures and totally forget our spiritual self. So this is what the Fool is being taught by this card. The next card is the Tower, right? Now the Tower, this is a destruction of those outmoded structures in your life you have clung to, forcing change for the better. You see, sometimes we cling on to a rigid form of thinking, rigid form of behavior, and a rigid form of mentality. And sometimes we do not want to change that. But there's going to be a moment when everything is going to be shaken up. All our rigid way of thinking, rigid way of emotions, they're going to be shook, and when they are shaken, it's going to be fireworks. Okay, so this is the Tower. Okay, the Tower is generally considered to be a dark, threatening card, and can often be a forebearer or unforeseen and deeply traumatic events attempting to preserve the status quo is futile. Sometimes we want to cling on to our way of thinking, our way of mentality, but this can be very, very destructive, because the reality might contradict your thinking or your conscience or your way of thinking. But sometimes you need to shaken up your rigid mind so you to go further. So this is what the Fool is being taught here. So the next card is the Star, right? Now, right, sorry, I need to get, okay, I've got the Moon here, and I should actually get the Star. Okay, there you go. Right, yeah. So the next card is the Star. Now, the Star, it represents creativity, hope, and optimism. It urges you to reinvest yourself in your art, and also serves as a reminder to keep the faith both in yourself and others. Okay, it represents creative hope and optimism. Right, the Star, right? The Fool on his spiritual journey is being taught that it needs to trust its it needs to trust itself. It needs to trust. It needs to have a faith in itself, faith in others. Okay, you need to be optimistic about everything. The inner star of spirit shines bright, bringing hope and inspiration after hardships. There is an inner light within you. Remember, we are spiritual beings that came from the absolute. We are stars. So this is a reminder of the inner star or the inner light, the inner spirit that is within you. You are a spiritual being. You are not a physical being. All the things that you are encountering, they are only in the physical, but there's a bright, shining star which is within you, which is your spiritual self. And be optimistic that you can conquer all obstacles, all trials and tribulations, all challenges. Everything that might seem too big, everything that might look like a Goliath to you, right? There is a little David inside you that can conquer that big Goliath. So this is the card is trying to remind you and telling you of the star quality which is within you. So this Fool is being reminded here. Be optimistic. Optimistic of yourself and other people as well. So the next card is the Moon, right? Now the Moon card indicates a strong sense of understanding of both the present and the future, but it also leaves those who draw it vulnerable to unexpected changes of course. Right? The Moon card indicates a strong sense of understanding of both the present and the future, but it also leaves those who draw it vulnerable to unexpected changes, of course. Okay, so the Moon here is working through letting go of things that subconsciously have been a distraction to us on our path. Okay. The subconscious mind, which is a part of our mind that stores everything. It stores all the things that we've been indoctrinated, everything that we have believed over the years, everything that we have put some concrete beliefs that this is real and this is the truth. And the subconscious simply stores those things. And some of these beliefs are the ones that are affecting your reality, affecting your choices. Sometimes you need to let go of certain things that you have harbored in your subconscious mind. So if this card comes through your reading, okay, in your spread, it's trying to tell you, let go of your beliefs, let go of the things that you have believed to be true. Let go of the things that have failed you in the past. All the things that have not served you positively, why are you holding on to them? So let go of them. So the Fool is trying to be taught by the Moon here that on its spiritual journey, it's going to have to let go of things that does not serve it, and only clutch or cling on to things that serves it positively. Okay, so the next card is the Sun. Now, the Sun card represents hope, energy, and optimism. As such, this card is associated with accomplishment of important tasks. Okay, so the Sun is coming to spiritual realization. The Sun shines as the light of spirit breaks through. Things can be accomplished if you trust your instinct, if you trust your spirit. Things can be, you can cross the crossing line, and you can wave a flag of victory, and you can put a smile on your face, and understanding that you can conquer all the challenges, everything that is in front of you. And you're coming to a spiritual realization that the Sun shines as the light of spirits breaks through. The light of spirit is breaking through inside you. Let spirit lead the way. Let go of your ego and your materialistic self. Let the spirit, because you know where you came from. You came from the absolute. You came from heaven. You came from nirvana, from perfection. So let spirit lead the way. And when you do that, victory is right there in front of you. So that's what the Sun is trying to signify is there. And the next card, ladies and gentlemen, is the card which is called the Temperance. The Judgment. Right. So now we're on judgment. Now the judgment represents trial, consequences, and rebirth. It typically appears just before a major life transition and emphasizes the importance of self-reflection. Okay, the judgment represents the trial, consequences, and rebirth. It typically appears just before a major life transition. Okay, so the judgment, life is forever changed, and a new chapter begins reflecting your spiritual realization. Okay, there is a monumental change that's going to come into your life. Okay, and this monumental change, it requires a reflection. You need to have self-reflection and understand that change was inevitable and change was needed. And by having a reflection of whatever that you went through, so you can understand the reality, you can understand the situation at hand. Okay, there are trials and consequences, but there is always a rebirth. There is always a rebirth. So the fool here is being taught, yes, you might be going through certain different situations, but there's going to be a time of monumental changes and a total rebirth. So you can see things with a different light. The veil is going to be lifted finally, and you're going to see things as they really are. Okay, so this is life is forever changed, and a new chapter begins. And embrace it, embrace the change. So if this card comes on your reading, it's simply trying to tell you, embrace the change that has come. You see, everybody is trumpeting, everybody's got their hands raised up, because this change is for the good. And welcome the change. Be happy, because this is a triumphal retain, it's a rebirth of yourself. Okay, you are finally going back to the promised land. This is the triumphal entry to Jerusalem. You are finally going back to the promised land. So yes, you have to be rejoicing in this card. So finally, the last card, ladies and gentlemen, on the Fool's Journey, it is the World, the Tetragrammaton, number 22. Now, the World Tarot card represents perfection. And accomplishment. The 21st major arcana cards at the end of an important project or period in your life. This is the completion. This is an accomplishment. This is the revelation, where everything is revealed to you. Sometimes it's called the universe, because finally, enlightenment and the chance to teach your newfound spiritual state of consciousness. A chance to teach your newfound spiritual state of consciousness. You have reached your spiritual consciousness. You have tapped into your spiritual self. You have reached the world. You have reached the Fool has reached it's a moment of realization that it is a spirit after all. It's not a physical being. Everything that it was experiencing, this was matters of the physical, but now it has remembered who it is. This is nirvana. This is Israel. This is going back into Jerusalem. This is going into heaven. So this is a completion. As you can see, number 0 here, right? The zero here is a completion. Everything is finished. All is done. So the Fool finally has reached its destination. The destination of spiritual enlightenment. It starts off as a Fool, and it ends off as the accomplishment of spiritual consciousness, okay, or the world. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope this has helped you. I just thought I'll give you a little bit more information, especially about the major arcana cards, because there are so much misconception, so much false information, so much false teachings, so much myth. And by understanding, and hopefully by us teaching you about tarot cards, you can totally understand that this is all about spirituality. This is an art of divination where you can find out the true nature of your psychological self, but at the same time your spiritual journey, to understand who you really are and how you're going to get to your spiritual self. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. This is Mason's Tarot World, and hopefully you've enjoyed this. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and look after yourself. Thank you. Bye bye.